Okay, boss level. I am about a week late getting to a review of this film, but I enjoyed it so freaking much that I did not want to go too much longer without doing some sort of review of this movie. So anyway, a while back, I watched the trailer for this film, did a reaction and review commentary of the trailer for the film, and I knew as soon as I saw it that I was probably going to really enjoy this movie, and I did. It did not disappoint. I was invited to do a screening, a free screening of the movie, I think a day or 2 days before it had its official release on Hulu on March 5th. And so, of course, I did that. I even filmed it like for the channel, to do a reaction, but I haven't gotten around to editing it because it was pretty long. Well, the movie itself wasn't terribly long. It was about an hour and 40 some minutes. But after that, there was a Q&A with the director and Frank Grillo and some girl, and also at some point Gronk, I think that's the guy's name, from the Patriots, now with Tampa Bay. He showed up because he has a bit part in here, which I didn't realize that was him at the time because I've never really paid attention to his face. I just recognize his name. But anyway, so that went on for about maybe 25, 30 minutes or more. And by the time all that was done, I wasn't in the mood to film a review. Anyway, so I'm doing that now. So the premise of this movie, in case you guys, well, that looks like a behind the scenes, whatever. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, the premise of the film is this guy his day is repeating. So like, I guess think Groundhog Day. Though a lot of people really like Groundhog Day. I'm not super crazy about that movie. It's all right. It didn't do a whole lot for me, but anyway, a lot of people like it. So someone had described this movie as Groundhog Day on steroids, and that was pretty much what it was. Like Frank Grillo's character, he wakes up, and his day repeats. He dies in various ways, and he can't escape death. There's a certain point at which he can't escape death. He always dies by a certain time. And so he's getting very bored with the whole thing because it's just so repetitive, and he doesn't know why it's happening. And then they do some flashbacky stuff to kind of show you, to lead up to what the deal is, what's going on. And so it ends up that it's kind of like a mystery he has to solve to figure out why this is happening, how to stop it, and how to save people that are near and dear to him in this, in the story. And it's comedic, it's hugely action-packed, and the choreography of the fight scenes and the action and the chase and the shoots and all that stuff is just amazing. It was very, very well done. And something interesting that I found out during the course of the Q&A afterwards, they were saying that they were initially supposed to have like 40 something, there's Gronk right there. They're supposed to have 40 something days to film this in, but for whatever reason, I can't remember if they explained why it happened, but that shooting time got cut almost in half because it ended up that they only had about, what did they say, 21 or 23 days to actually film this movie, you guys. I mean, that's an insane amount of fast work to pump out something that was as quality as this was. Now, apparently this movie had been in the making for quite a while. I think it's been I think they said it was about 10 years that they were working on, I guess, the concept, the story and all that stuff. So I think by the time they got around to filming, they had a solid story in their hands already, and that's probably what helped them be able to create this film, such a really solid story, solid film, to do such a good job in the short amount of time that they had. One thing that now I'm not sure if this was because they were limited in how much time they had, or if this was always part of the story. But the only complaint that I have about it, and it's a minor one because honestly everything else that came before it was so much fun. The only complaint I have about it is the abrupt ending. I expected it was going to go on more and show this last final stuff, but I think they were leaving things up to your imagination, but you kind of have the idea of how it's going to end. You kind of know it, and maybe they felt like it was unnecessary, and where they ended it was, maybe they felt like that was a good place to end it. At any rate, there was so much comedy in this movie. Frank Grillo, this was probably the funniest movie, or the funniest I've seen him with his acting, because he usually plays a very serious, tough, rough type character. I've never seen him play a comedic role. Granted, this isn't really a comedic role, but there is a lot of comedy in it, and he's at the heart of a lot of that comedy. And he's got great comedic timing, and he's quite funny in here. Everybody was really funny in here. Every character had this, well, no, let's not say every, because the girl that plays the mother of his child, or ex-wife or something, Naomi Watts, she's not very comedic, but most people, let's just say most people, are comedic in here. It's almost like, I can't really say black comedy, because it doesn't have that sort of sharp edge to it, even though it's violent, but it's funny. I don't know. What is the actual definition of a black comedy? When I think black comedy, I think things like Heathers and other films. This was more just like an action film with a lot of comedy in it. So anyway, the story was quite compelling. It was not just the time loop aspect of it, which I really love stuff like that. I like repeating day things, but it's kind of, it's pretty heavily grounded into gaming type stuff. It's not a game. It's not like a LitRPG type film like Ready Player One, but it's very much rooted in that, because it often references games and gaming, and of course the title, boss level. Every time he keeps trying to do this thing, he's trying to advance more and more and more in his story, in his day, until he gets to the boss level, I guess you could say. But there's also there's a dramatic sort of sentimental side to this as well, about the relationship between father and son, because he has a son with Naomi Watts, and apparently the child does not know that he is his father. She's kept that from him, because he's kind of been in and out of their lives. He hasn't been stable. He's been kind of basically a loser, I guess you could say. And so I guess maybe to protect her son or whatever, she never told him that this guy was her father. He just thought he was this cool dude that would come visit his mom sometimes. So through the course of this movie, you see him start to establish a relationship with his son. And the interesting thing about his son's character is, I mentioned when I watched the trailer for this that I'm friends with Frank Grillo on Facebook. He's accepted friend requests from a lot of people. He's not quite so active on Facebook anymore. I guess he got a little bit more popular. It became a little bit overwhelming. And at one point he started deleting people to try to sort of not shape down, but whittle down his friends list to make it a little bit more private. And then it was like, it's too much work. Forget it. As long as you're not crazy, I'll let you stay or whatever. But anyway, what I was trying to get around to was that through the course of being connected with him sort of ish on Facebook, there's his son right there. That's the kid who plays his son. But when I was watching this, I'm like, that looks like his actual son. That looks like his youngest son. And it was, and I didn't even know before I watched this that his son was playing in here. This is his son Rio. I think it's his youngest child, and that little boy is so stinking cute. Some of the videos and pictures that he shares on his Facebook, and his child, this son of his, is very much into gaming, so it fits so well that he's working in this with his dad. His son did a really good job. He's actually a really good actor. He's not. Apparently, according to Frank in the Q&A afterwards, he's not really into acting. He's more into gaming. It's just, his part in here was just perfect as far as the fact that he played it and what it was all about, and is so near and dear to what he already likes himself. And he did a really good job. And it worked very well. The chemistry between them, of course, their father and son, but the acting was good, and just the emotional anchoring of that father-son connection in this story and the importance of that to him was very well done. I felt like, oh my gosh, scared the crap out of me. This always happens. Anyway, I felt like it was extremely well done, and it was just such a good balance of action, a lot of action, downtime, sort of character growth, and comedy. It's just so much fun, you guys. If you have access to Hulu, I cannot recommend this film highly enough. If you like this type of thing, I think you will, when I say this type of thing, action sort of stuff or repeating day sort of stuff, I think you will really enjoy this movie. And if you get a chance to check it out, let me know what you think. Did you like it? Did you not? Do you like it? Got a pretty high score on Rotten Tomatoes. I know, like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean anything because the official critics, I don't really always count what they say, but I believe the audience score on this is pretty solid. I don't recall what the last score was, but I think it's pretty solid. Like, it's not, the audience doesn't despise it or hate it or anything like that. So check it out if you're remotely interested and let me know what you think. I can't come up with anything else to add to it. I think I've said everything that I was thinking of when I was watching the film. But yeah, I could see myself watching this again. I could see myself watching this multiple times because it was so much fun. Might even add it to my digital library or my actual physical library. But anyway, okay, I think that's it for this. I'm going to sign off, you guys. Later.